Three candidates, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and billionaire Tom Steyer, have all dropped out of this presidential race just in the last 3 days, as we are getting the first multi-state picture of how all the candidates have campaigned, what they spent, and what has worked. Now, the clues in these new results, which I'm about to share with you, they could actually shape how Democrats plan the general election campaign against Donald Trump, especially since there are billionaires still arguing that funding your own campaign provides an edge. Does it? Well, all of this brings us to a special report I mentioned earlier that's happening right now. We're digging into the spending and what the campaigns got for it. Take a look at what many top voter-funded candidates have spent during this key period when 4 states voted. You can see Sanders there spending money in 4 states and beyond. Biden spent just half of Sanders' spending. And most of the other candidates are falling right there on the left middle, with the exception of Klobuchar, who had far less. Now, what I just showed you is what the entire race would normally look like. But, as you've heard about it, what's so different right now, which could matter tomorrow on Super Tuesday, is adding in these billionaires plowing their own money into the race. Take a look. Tom Steyer spending, we now know, $250 million in about 4 states of competition. He's already dropped out. And then, boom, fittingly in green, your tallest bar chart there, Bloomberg spending 3 times what, say, Bernie Sanders has spent. Now, Bloomberg emphasizes the $400 million you're looking at was not for the first 4 states. It's for Super Tuesday and beyond. Now, I want to be clear. Many different organizations and news media track this kind of spending, and it's increased in the last decade. What you're looking at right here was some reporting MSNBC's Rachel Maddow did previewing the dramatic difference in ad spending back in January. Well, tonight, our new reporting shows that disparity only growing. Steyer poured this $250 million of his own money into the campaign, and then he dropped out Saturday. Bloomberg spending is increasingly looking like a problem for Joe Biden. And we should note, of course, along the way, both billionaires drawing plenty of punchlines.
Tom Steyer is spending more on ads in 1 state than other candidates have spent in their entire campaign. If you just show people something enough times, eventually they'll be like, yeah, I like that. That's why Cheerios is a thing.
He's spending so much money on this election that right now this might actually be a commercial for him and we don't know it.
Mike Bloomberg.
$47 million. Instead of running for president, he could have funded grassroots organizing or just offered that same money to Donald Trump to quit.
Which you can question whether that would work or not. Now, our special report right now focuses on one part of this question. First of all, does more money automatically equal more votes? And if it doesn't, then maybe the spending doesn't have to matter as much as people think. And that's certainly important if you have a billionaire telling you, vote for me tomorrow because my money will beat Trump. Now, what we've done is crunched an estimated money per vote for each candidate thus far. A big caveat before I show you any of the estimates. As you know, with voting tomorrow, all the numbers are fluid. They will change as the primaries continue and as we get more results. But we're journalists and we count as we go. So take a look at these new numbers. Joe Biden actually has the best return on investment at $190 spent per vote. And you see Sanders, who even though he spent more than Warren, also has a better money per vote ratio than her so far. And then very interesting, look at Steyer, who dropped out after his disappointing South Carolina finish. The guy who spent the most is over there where you don't want to be, spending $3,000 per vote. That is not, in business terms, a good return on investment. Now, again, these numbers could look very different by tomorrow, or at least tomorrow night when you have the different results. Sanders, for example, has spent a lot of money on later Super Tuesday states in a show of strength. So he might see the return on investment change. Now, there's one candidate who's not shown here at all, and that's Michael Bloomberg. We don't have any results because he has run a strategy where he's spending, but insisting don't count anything yet because he's not on the ballot. But if we're going to discuss money per vote, we couldn't leave him out completely. So what we've done here is run a potential outcome for you. Here are the candidates so far. We showed you those numbers. Now, this is what it would look like if Bloomberg got, say, the same number of votes, hypothetically, as the popular vote leader, Joe Biden. This is really important. Bloomberg still would have spent over $1,000 per vote and still less per vote than his fellow billionaire Tom Steyer and not much more than Elizabeth Warren. Now, that's a hypothetical. What if he finished at the bottom of the pack, though, with the same amount of votes as, say, Klobuchar? Well, we'll learn a lot more tomorrow, but he would be at $4,000 per vote, making him, again, a pretty bad democracy businessman with the lowest return on investment of any major candidate. Now, these numbers will keep changing, and 2 of those bars were hypotheticals, the rest were real. But this breakdown is important. What's clear right now is, for one, and we heard this anecdotally from voters on the ground in South Carolina, money doesn't buy votes. There are many different factors, and there's also what people stand for. And there's also, basically, what does it mean if somebody spends so much and doesn't have pre-existing credibility with voters that they actually start to second-guess the influx of constant ads telling them what to do? Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.